short answers. How to find solutions for short answer kind of questions in listening modules. Yeah, this kind of question actually can be asked as W questions. Okay, I think you know what W questions are, right? Which has W words in them, like what, why, where, when, and all this kind of question. The answers are no longer than 4 words. What I mean by no longer than 4 words, when they are providing us instructions, the answers won't be more than 4 words. They'll say, write to answer no longer than 3 words, no more than 2 words. So your limit will go maximum to 4 words. That's why they are short question answers. Okay. Now moving on, they're not that difficult compared to MCQs or multiple choice questions, which we have seen earlier. The reason for them not being difficult is there's just one single question. All you have to do is just read the question and easily find the answer. And that is why it's not that difficult. Okay. Now let's see an example so that you can easily understand what I mean by simple question kind of answer. This is where what you see here. We have question, what 2 factors can make social contact in foreign country difficult? You see, this is a direct question. It could be 2 factors, it could be 1 factor. Here they have mentioned 2 factors. It could be 1 factor they might ask, but it is a direct question for short answer. Now look in the instruction, they have mentioned 3 words. So watch out for that, okay? I'm going to play the audio and let you finish these questions 11 to 16. Get ready for the audio.
You will hear an extract from a talk given to a group who are going to stay in the UK.
Good evening and welcome to the British Council. My name is John Parker and I've been asked to talk to you briefly about certain aspects of life in the UK before you actually go there. So I'm going to talk first about the best ways of making social contacts there. Now, you might be wondering why it should be necessary. After all, we meet people all the time. But when you're living in a foreign country, it can be more difficult, not just because of the language, but because customs may be different. If you're going to work in the UK, you will probably be living in private accommodation, so it won't be quite so easy to meet people. But there are still things that you can do to help yourself. First of all, you can get involved in activities in your local community. Join a group of some kind. For example, you'll probably find that there are theatre groups who might be looking for actors, set designers and so on. Or if you play an instrument, you could join music groups in your area. Or if you like the idea of finding out about local history, there'll be a group for that too. These are just examples. And the best place to get information about things like this are either the town hall or the public library. Libraries in the UK perform quite a broad range of functions nowadays. They're not just confined to lending books, although that's their main role, of course.
Great. And we are back. I hope you find all the answers. Let's see the answers themselves. The first one, that is 11th, is language. 12th is customs. 13th is music or music groups. 14th is local history groups. 15th, the public, you can ignore if you want. Library or libraries. Right? As we have 3 words, we can write the public library or the public libraries. And the last one, the town hall or just town hall. If you got full, 6 out of 6, wonderful. If not, don't worry. Like always, we're going to provide you pointers. Those are going to help you to get the answers correctly. Okay? Cool. Now, pointers are again the same thing as we discussed earlier. These are the tips that are going to help you to find answers easily. The first one is number of words, or let's say instructions. So this is our question, right? In here, these are questions. This above is instructions. So we'll get rid of the questions and let's just zoom in here. You see how many words do we have here? 3 words and or a number. In a previous video, I have explained this, what is the meaning of and or a number. If you can, please go back to the other video. If not, let me explain it here. You cannot write more than 3 words. Your answer must be between 1 to 3 words. Secondly, if it is a number, you can add it to the word. For example, on the boat will fulfill the requirement of not more than 3 words. But if you add one more number here, 2 on the board, it's still correct because we are allowed to use a number apart from these 3 words. That's what it means, right? So you can choose answer accordingly. That is what the instructions on number of words mean. Okay. Next one is the W question. It's important to understand the question. See, our problem is actually we don't listen to reply. We don't listen to understand. We listen to reply. When you listen to understand, it gets easier. Not just in IELTS, I guess, in everywhere in life or in relationships. When we listen to just reply, we tend to just get to the point and just get to our, throw our answers to them. Not a good idea. Same goes here in IELTS. When you listen to the question, please try to understand what the question is and guess the answer for the W question. Now, what does it mean by guessing the answer? So we have some questions here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the instructions and let me zoom in here. We have here, what 2 factors can make social contact in foreign country difficult? Here the question word is what. This is important. Second is the information here, factors. So all you have to listen to is what factors. What factors social contact foreign country difficult? That's it. So you can guess what are the factors are they talking about. So here you have to look for what factors. In second one, you can see which community group. So there must be names for community groups, So that first they have given example, theater. Watch out for these examples as well. Now we have 13 and 14 you have to provide as community group. Number third, in which places. So in which 2 places means again they have to talk about places. So you see, this is how we guess the answer by understanding the question itself. Now, while you're listening to the audio, of course, you cannot read everything at the same time. You are supposed to read this when you're given 30 seconds before you go for the question slot. Let's say they'll say, please read the question between 21 to 25 and then you hear the audio. So in these 30 seconds, what you're supposed to do is read the questions, underline what is the important information like we did here in the case of this one, what factors, in here which community groups, and here in which places. You see, this information is going to be very helpful for us in future, in the coming task. Yeah. All right. The next pointer is stay ahead of the audio. What is the meaning of staying ahead of the audio? The meaning is that you read one question in advance. While you're listening to the audio, please, before the audio starts, as soon as possible, read this question and this question for sure, at least. That is the one and the next one to it. As soon as you find the answer for this one, you jump to this one, right? When you already have read this one, so it's get easier for you. When you're reading this and you find the answer, immediately jump to this one. So staying ahead of the audio will help you. In the previous video, we have shown you what is the meaning of speed reading. Please go through it. It will help you to read as quicker as possible. So you will be able to finish this sentence within the span of like 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, that will be really fast. This method has been explained in the previous video. I suggest you go back and read or listen to the whole video and understand the method. Okay. Proceeding, we have paraphrases. What is the meaning of paraphrasing? Paraphrasing is when we don't change the meaning of a statement, but we provide it in different words. That is called paraphrasing. Now, most sentences which you hear in the audio are paraphrased. That means you're not going to hear exact question or exact words in your statement. So let's see an example. These are some questions. Yeah, let me get rid of some of them and just let's take out of this question. Options are not important for us. Now, this is the question which we have in exam. What are the things they could change? How they could put this question or provide this information in the audio? They might say something like this. Which aspects can make it hard to have a social contact in a foreign country? Now see, we changed 2 factors to social aspects. 2 aspects. Social contact, that is fine. We can keep it same. They might keep it same. Foreign country, similar. but make it difficult, make it hard. Yeah, so this is just our interpretation. All could be possibly just to show you that this could be said in this way in exam, that you might hear the audio in this form, right? This is how it is paraphrased. I hope you understand what I mean by that. They're never going to provide you the exact words in the question. You have to listen to understand the audio. All right. Now the next one is very similar to paraphrasing, but this is for words. That is, they will be using synonyms of the words, right? With example, it will get clear. Now let's take 3 of these examples and eliminate 2 of them. And let's talk about this. Let me zoom in here. If you look at it here, we have certain words that we can find synonym of. They could change those words. Here we have types, could be kinds. Instead of community, they might use neighborhood. Instead of so you see that how these synonyms are used in the audio itself. We should be ready for such synonyms. But let me tell you one more thing. Yes, you might hear synonyms in the audio, but please don't write anything which is not you didn't hear in the audio. Okay, if you didn't hear anything, don't write it. If you did hear the word, write it. Writing a synonym of a word as answer is incorrect. You are supposed to write the answer itself, what you heard. What I'm trying to explain here is, in the question you might see this as your question, but in audio you might hear this in order to explain this part. Okay, this is how they're going to use synonyms, right? Good. The last but not the least are the spellings. If you have spelling mistakes as an answer, in an answer, it's definitely incorrect. So let's see. Yeah, of course, incorrect answer, that means no score. So you get 0 in that question. And in listening, you know, 1 correct answer, you get 1 point. And do you remember how many points do we have total? 40 questions, hence 40 points, right? Okay, this is what we did today. That is languages in custom. Now, if you look at it, what if, let me just get rid of this to zoom in. What if we write instead of language, languages? Incorrect. What if in custom we write customs? You know, it should fit what they have said. Second thing, it should be fitting according to the spelling. Now, instead of music, what if I write like this? It's incorrect. So just a tiny mistake can ruin your answer. Spelling mistakes have to be taken care. They cannot be considered, oh, I did hear the answer, by mistake I wrote incorrect spelling. Nope, sorry. One more thing I would like to mention here, in listening, please try to provide all one more thing I would like to clear is, please try to provide in listening all answers as uppercase. So for example, we have music groups here. Try to write in this way rather than this way. The reason for that is, they don't have penalty for writing in all caps lock or all uppercase. But in case if you make mistake in writing first letter capital or not capital, it is incorrect. For an example, all the proper nouns, those are names, should have first letter capitalized. Otherwise, you don't need to. Now, who will think of these rules while they are writing the answer? No one. So I suggest write all of the words, all of the letters capital. That will make it better. Okay, there's no penalty for writing all of them capital. Okay, cool. So that was the end of the chapter.